Hello everyone, it's Friday, time for a little sewing chat. Today I'll share some projects I have in the works, a couple projects I have planned, as well as a very small little pattern haul of vintage Kwik Sew patterns that I picked up. I'm Sharon with Sharon Sews. Welcome to my channel, a channel all about sewing. Let's get started. I talked about my frugal frocks plans a couple videos ago. I'll link that above if you didn't have a chance to see it. I think I have finally decided which one I want to sew. I downloaded and have cut out the mallow dress from Mood Fabrics. It's a knit dress. It's a maxi with kind of a tulip hem. It took me a really long time to decide. I looked at all the patterns that I was considering and the fabric that I had been considering using, and I really think the knit dress is the one that I would get the most use out of right now. I haven't quite decided which fabric I'm going to use. As you can tell, I have not sewn the dress out yet. I'm really leaning towards this one. I've had this piece of fabric about 2 years, I think. It's time to get it sewn up and out of my fabric closet. You will see on March 31st which fabric I ended up using. As I was digging through my fabric collection, I came across a dress that I had sewn a couple years ago and I never hemmed. So a UFO, PhD project half done, although it was more than half done. And I pulled it out and hemmed it, and I'm thinking, why in the world did I sew such a boring dress? This is really boring. And this is the pattern. McCall's 7800. This is from 2018. And you know, that was right about the time where it's right before I got really sick. And I think this kind of reflects where my mindset was at the time. Without even realizing it, I was just kind of feeling down. So it's really blah, but it's a dress and it's done, and I'll throw it in the closet because who knows when I might need a little black dress. It's a ponte knit, super comfy. The pattern was really easy to sew. I would recommend it. I just think it's really boring. I'm happy to report that I have made progress on my Moto jacket 1714. This is one that I talked about a couple weeks ago, and this is the progress so far. I'm really pleased with how it's turning out. I did do a full bust adjustment on this, and it is fairly fitted. I wasn't really expecting it to be quite that fitted because in my mind I was thinking denim jacket outerwear, but I don't think it's really designed as outerwear. I had to take a break. I wanted to put Bemberg lining in it, a rayon lining. I don't want a polyester lining in this. And I don't have any. And I haven't looked online yet. Do they even sell that anymore? I used to purchase it at Treadle Yard Goods in St. Paul, Minnesota when I lived in Minnesota. They had a huge selection of it. And I don't think I've ever looked for it online. If you know of where I can purchase Bemberg lining online, leave it in the comments for me below. And then this also calls for shoulder pads. I think I still have a pair of shoulder pads around here somewhere. I'm going to have to look for that. I had shared that I was going to do a contrast for the lapels. I'm doing the whole thing in this fabric. It's more green than what I normally wear, but I just really like it. It's a little bit of that spring trend. Well, denim is always a trend, but that little bit of glitz and disco trend that has been on the runways. So this is my nod to that. I will tell you this jacket so far has been really easy to sew. If you've never sewn a Moto jacket before, this is one that you might want to try. I did eliminate the interfacing in the front. This denim with the metallic coating on it is rather stiff and rather heavy. I didn't need the interfacing. I also had to shorten the zipper by an inch, if I remember correctly, and I didn't do the best job up at the top. It was harder to remove those little metal zipper tabs than I thought it was going to be. I started out trying to use some jewelry pliers to try and pry it out, but it was just so difficult. I ended up going and raiding my husband's toolbox, and I think I ended up with a wire clipper that worked. So I had to actually clip that little metal thing and then pry it out. All's well that ends well, right? It worked. Now, a couple minutes ago when I told you about that really boring black dress that I had found in my fabric stash, the reason I came across that is because I was going through my black fabrics because I was looking for this piece of fabric. I knew I had purchased this from Emma One Sock about 2 years ago. It's a rag and bone jacket wear. It's a fairly decent weight, and it's got like a coating on it, so it would be really good for a raincoat. And I just have a bee in my bonnet to sew myself a trench coat. I have 3 yards, which should be enough for a trench coat. We get a lot of rain here and the weather really fluctuates, which I didn't expect. I could use a trench coat. Now I just need to figure out which pattern to use and I'll get started on my new little raincoat. I have another really cool piece of fabric here that I want to share with you. This is from Minerva and it's a poplin. That's not very interesting, is it? Here, you can see this side. Do I have the words up the right way? I can't. I think that might be upside down. I don't think it really matters when it's so abstract like that. Anyway, I fell in love with this piece. It's a little bit different, a little bit artsy. I like the blue, and I immediately thought of this pattern. This is Vogue 9112. This is from 2015 maybe. This is a Marcy Tilton design. I sewed one when she first released this pattern and I wear it all the time. I pull it out, I think, every other week in the summer. It's just so comfortable. And I thought this fabric would be perfect. Now the one I sewed before is this one. And this was from a lightweight linen. And I just think this poplin fabric, cotton poplin, I have washed and dried this already. And look how beautiful it turned out right out of the dryer. It's gonna work great in this dress. Obviously, I have a couple other projects ahead of this, but I'm really eager to do this one because once the weather gets into the 80s, 90s, and 100s, I want to have another comfortable sleeveless dress to wear. Recently, I purchased a small pattern lot of Kwik Sew patterns. I purchased old patterns from both eBay and Etsy, so now I don't remember where I found this one. But I was looking for a man's bathrobe pattern. And yes, I know I can purchase one from the big four. Sometimes I just like to look for vintage patterns. And the reason I was looking for a man's vintage robe pattern is my husband doesn't have a robe. And I kind of laugh at my husband in the winter when he gets up in the morning and he's cold, but he doesn't have a bathrobe because he doesn't like them. So I'm going to make him one. I think instead of a traditional terry cloth, kind of bulky, I think that's what he doesn't like. I'll just find a cool cotton knit fabric that'll be comfortable to wear. It'll just be a nice extra layer for him. And I found this pattern. This is 2023 from Kwik Sew. Now the reason I ended up purchasing this is because it came with all of these. And I didn't pay very much for all of them. Those older Kwik Sew patterns are gems. Many of them are just basic styles that you can reuse or you can hack or you can just change little details to make it current. Now the Kwik Sew brand, if you haven't noticed, is pretty much crafts. So if you can find the old Kwik Sew patterns at a reasonable price, pick it up. This is what was included in that pattern lot. This is $14.61, but a short sleeve robe would be perfect for the weather that we have here. And look at bonus, it's already traced off and it's traced off in my size. Don't you just love when you find a little surprise like that? Yay. So that is on my list of things to sew. And then there's this cute little pattern. This is 1247. This one is also already traced out in my size. I'll have to do a full bust adjustment on that though. No, right out of the envelope, that would never fit my bust line. Next up, 1995. Workout wear. I mean, workout wear really doesn't change all that much. The fabrics change. Some of the sewing construction techniques change as we get different equipment and tools available to us. But for the most part, workout wear doesn't change a whole lot. 1981. All right, so the pants are a little different, but I kind of like them. And out of a jersey knit, a fairly lightweight jersey knit, I think they could be kind of fun to wear. And it also has the pattern for this boxy t-shirt. Well, we all know oversized and somewhat boxy is kind of current right now. And let's face it, it's just plain old comfortable. This is something that I would wear around the house when I'm sewing. 2088, just a simple tent dress. I may or may not use it. 2248, simple pullover blouse. That big ruffle, it's kind of back, maybe not quite that large, but I don't know if I'll sew this or not because I really like the fit of the Itch to Stitch Seychelles top that I reviewed recently, and I could probably take this ruffle from here and add it to the neckline on that one. If you haven't seen that review video, I'll link that above. The last pattern in that lot was 2209 and just some simple vests. These just keep cycling back into fashion over and over and over. I might sew it, I might not. What did you accomplish in sewing last week? What do you have planned for the upcoming week? Leave it in the comments below. Hey, I have a question for you. Once I am completely done with this jacket, would you be interested in a sew along? I would be willing to sew another jacket and film it as a sew along for you if it's something you'd be interested in. Just leave a yes in the comments below if you would be interested in this as a sew along in the future. As always, I appreciate a thumbs up, and you know I appreciate if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Happy sewing. Oh, I might not.